From the sands of Laguna Beach, Prime Ticket sends your way one of the truly fun sports for all the beach lovers. It's professional beach volleyball, and once again, Prime Ticket has moved the living room right onto the beach to bring you this highly skilled knockout event. If this year's matches are anything like last year's, everyone is in for a blast on the beach. So join us where the surf meets the sand. Pro Beach Volleyball in Laguna Beach, right here on Prime Ticket.
The California coastline stretches for hundreds of miles, and today the Professional Beach Volleyball Tour stops in beautiful Laguna Beach, California. We're here at Main Beach for the 33rd annual Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to the 12th stop on the Professional Beach Volleyball Tour. And what a setting for professional beach volleyball. Laguna Beach, the oldest tour stop, still on the professional tour, and it's also one of the most prestigious tournaments in the United States. Happy to say, working with me once again, my partner, the Olympic gold medalist, Paul Sunderland. And Paul, when beach volleyball rolls into town here at Laguna, it's really a happening.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Laguna Beach is certainly a 10 on the scale of pro beach volleyball tour sites. It's known worldwide for the Sawdust Festival and its artist community and the world of professional beach volleyball. This is a great spot. Everybody loves to come here and win this title.
Beach volleyball came to Laguna in 1955. Let's take a trip back in time and meet some of the old-timers of yesteryear. One of the first great teams, Ron Lang and Gene Selznick, they dominated the 50s. Selznick winning 7 straight Laguna Beach Opens, 5 with Ron Lang. If you're wondering what Laguna Beach looked like in 1960, it was a quaint little community. Back then, John Kennedy was president. No one had heard of the Beatles. Gasoline, 19 cents a gallon. Then in the 1960s, a newcomer, the chiseled man, Ron Von Hagen. He teamed with Ron Lang. Von Hagen won 6 Laguna Beach Opens. He would have had 7, but he was stopped by Mike Bright and our pal Keith Erickson. Then in '74, Matt Gage and Buzz Schwartz. Gage, you already know about. Buzz Schwartz, a great shot maker. The dink, the rainbow, and the phrase, chase it, chase it. Then in '75, '76, Greg Lee and Jim Mangus. The dynamic duo from UCLA, and volleyball really changed, didn't it, Paul?
It changed in a big way. It was the first time the word pro was put in front of beach volleyball. Promoters got involved and cash came to the beach.
Then in 1977, another team broke through, Gary Hooper and Steve Obradovich. Steve Obradovich will be working with us on our coverage today, and many people said that was an upset, Paul.
I'm still looking for these many people, Chris. I think that was a great finish. Chris Marlowe, my partner, and Jim Mingus finishing second, but I did hear, Chris, you weren't feeling so good that day.
You're certainly right, Paul. I certainly wasn't feeling well after that particular tournament. Then, moving on to the 80s, the team of the 80s should be no surprise. St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos, they have won 4 of the past 5 Laguna Beach Opens. And we've seen some great tournament finishes, some great players, Paul. Sometimes the older players don't get the recognition due them. There was no TV, not as much publicity then.
There were certainly some great players, and they laid the foundation for what beach volleyball is and what pro beach volleyball is today. Selznick, Lang, Von Hagen, Mingus, Lee, yourself, so many players through the years have brought us to this point in the sport. Tremendous development. They were tremendous contributors.
We showed you what beach volleyball looked like in 1960. Let's take one more look. The Laguna Beach Open and how it is today. Laguna Beach, the hills surrounding the downtown community. A big crowd has gathered here at Laguna Beach to watch professional beach volleyball. Moving out, the waves are breaking, the sun is out, the sand is soft, as Paul told you, and it's a great day for volleyball. We'll be back. Laguna Beach, California, the coastline, the site of today's Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. Hi again, everybody. Chris Morrow along with Paul Sunderland. Today, our semifinal match. And Paul, here at Laguna, they have certain conditions which really try the players heavily, don't they?
They certainly do. This is one of the toughest beaches to run and jump out of. We talked about conditions in Santa Cruz and Santa Barbara earlier. The sand here is deep, it's fine, it's a tough place to play. It's a big boys beach.
Speaking of big, there has been a big upset so far in this tournament. Our #1 seed, Randy Stoklos and St. John Smith, they have lost to Hovland and Dodd, so they are in our semifinal. That's quite an upset.
It really is a big upset. Mike Dodd and Tim Hovland played extremely well. St. John and Randy were a little disappointed in their performance, but you got to hand it to Hovland Dodd, and Mike Dodd looks stronger and playing better than he has in the last several weeks.
And one other thing, Paul Sunderland, there was a lot of animosity, especially between St. John Smith and Tim Hovland.
Well, really competitive teams and competitive match at 15-13, and there were a couple of very controversial calls. There was a couple of conversations between Tim Hovland and St. John Smith.
So we will see more of that in our semifinal, or perhaps the final. The team St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos have to play against, a team we have not seen since last year at Santa Cruz. Brent Frohoff and Scott Akatubby, they defeated Hanley and Stevenson.
Playing extremely well, have not had the kind of summer that they would have hoped for, but this is a little redemption. Serving well, jump serves from both of them, and they're both blocking extremely well, and Brent Frohoff is hitting really well from the left side.
So it is the big boys, Randy Stoklos and St. John Smith. They will go up against the jump servers, the bombers, Akatubby and Frohoff. Like to check in on some volleyball news. As you know, Prime Ticket covering all kinds of volleyball all around the United States. And we'd like to offer our congratulations to Terry Liskevich and the USA Women's National Team. What a job they have done. They have qualified for the 1988 Olympics in Seoul, Korea. Our women's team getting in. Congratulations once again. We'll be back. Welcome back to Main Beach here in Laguna Beach, California. Prime Ticket presents the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open, men's professional volleyball at its best. I'm Chris Marlowe along with Paul Sunderland. We await our semifinal match. The teams in our semifinal match, Brent Frohoff and Scott Akatubby, take on St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos. Let's meet our first semifinal team. You're looking at St. John Smith, 6'3", 185 pounds, out of Santa Monica. He is 30 years old, the all-time leader in open wins at 73. His partner, the imposing Randy Stoklos, 6'4", 210 pounds, out of Santa Monica. Randy is 26 years old. Let's take a look at their road. A very short road, Paul.
Road more like a detour for St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos. They defeated the same team of Frohoff and Akatubby 15-11, and then were upset by the team of Hovland Dodd 15-13 to come back to the semifinal.
And they will play once again, Akatubby and Frohoff. You're looking at Brent Frohoff, one of the gifted little men. We call him little. He says he's 6'3". I can't believe he's quite that tall. 180 pounds. He's 24 years old. He's got a great jump serve, great ball control. His partner, Scott Akatubby, 22 years old, from Hermosa Beach, California. He's 6'4". He's also got a great jump serve. Remember, they won Santa Cruz last year, their only win. Let's take a look at their road, Paul.
Frohoff and Akatubby have made it to the semifinals, first losing to St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos 15-11. A big win over the powerful team of Pat Powers and Andrew Smith 15-8, and defeated a tough team of Hanley Stevenson 15-13. Big win. Here they are in the semifinals.
As usual, our #1 official, the tournament director, Matt Gage. He will make all the decisions concerning volleyball and anything else that would come up. The weather conditions, well, they are very, very nice, even without looking at them. 76 degrees, sand temperature 85, wind out of the south 1 to 3 miles per hour. Just a light breeze, Paul. That really makes it nice.
Light breeze, keep the players a little bit cool. It's a perfect day for beach volleyball. Beautiful, beautiful conditions and a beautiful spot.
Smith and Stoklos will serve. They will start on what we call the bad side. If you followed our coverage, Smith way back, you can see him just barreled in there, and that could hurt the jump serving. Big crowd is gathered around the court. Not a lot of playing room. But you and I both remember, Paul, when the crowd was right up against those ropes.
There's more room now than there has been in the past.
Brent Frohoff spikes the ball down. That will be a side out. Akatubby and Frohoff, one of the younger teams on the circuit. We mentioned that they're 24 and 22 respectively. You're looking at Scott Akatubby. And what they do, which is kind of unique, Paul, is they like to jump serve all the time. They really rely on that.
Well, they're young guys. You know, let them go to work, use their young legs, jump serve every time, and hit hard and block.
That's one of the reasons. They have won a tournament on the circuit this year, the Calgary Open, which Paul and I talked about on one of our other telecasts. And they did it through the jump serve, Paul.
The jump serve is a big part of their game, and also blocking. You saw Randy Stoklos get past the block of Brent Frohoff. One of the things that they do that a lot of other teams don't is that both of them are equally strong at the net blocking. They can divide up that responsibility.
Serving Frohoff. He's the smaller left side player. And Frohoff gets the kill. That's the usual strategy, isn't it, Paul, to serve Frohoff until he drops?
Serve Frohoff forever and ever. Akatubby is a little bit bigger player, strong hitter from the right side, and the same pattern from Smith and Stoklos. Stoklos going to block every time.
Now, what about the pattern with St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos? Stoklos walked by and said, hey, they're serving me now, thanks to you guys.
We've been talking to several of the other teams about changing it up because St. John Smith has been such a consistent and great hitter from the right side and using all the shots, as you saw right there. And now Randy came up to us and said, hey, thanks a lot, you guys. They're serving me a lot more. Here you see Randy Stoklos, one of the great setters on the beach. St. John Smith just off speed, great, rolls across the tape. Nobody's getting that shot. Landed about a foot the other side of the net.
That's called the cut shot, if you're not familiar with beach volleyball. Just cutting the court along the net. Smith with the jumper. See that jumper, not a hard serve, but effective as Frohoff hits the ball out of bounds. Smith has the jump serve, but he doesn't hit it as hard as, say, Akatubby or Frohoff.
Doesn't hit it as hard, but he's got great control. It's a real key to St. John Smith's game: passing, setting, hitting. We always talk about his control, tremendous consistency.
This is the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. If you just joined us, Paul Sunderland and Chris Marlowe. Laguna Beach, 4 of them for St. John Smith: 82, 84, 85, and 86. Obviously with Randy Stoklos. Remember, before he signed up with Randy Stoklos, St. John Smith played with Karch Karai. Karch Karai just completing duties on the national team. He'll be back on the tour soon.
There you saw one of the reasons why most people serve Brent Frohoff. Well, although he is a great hitter, Scott Akatubby can crank from the right side. St. John Smith had a good attempt at a dig, but that ball's got some heat.
Good close shot of Scott Akatubby. And a lot of people thought that he and Frohoff were the team of the future after they won Santa Cruz last year, and then they had a severe drop-off. Good pass. Look at that set. And Smith blast. You know, a lot of the younger teams, Paul, we haven't talked about it, but the younger teams, they break through, they get seconds, they get firsts. So we take this last set and spike.
Here the jump serve, nice pass by St. John Smith. Randy Stoklos again, one of the best setters. And here a pretty good chance for a dig. Oh, and you can see Akatubby. Oh, he wanted that one. They know they have to capitalize on every opportunity.
Frohoff and chops it down. If you're wondering on that last replay, are you allowed to take the ball open-handed? Well, on a hard spike on the beach, you are. You're allowed to double it or catch it and throw it up, as long as it doesn't stick too badly. That's a judgment for Matt Gage, the official. So Brent Frohoff will put the ball in play. His team trails 0-1. This is 1 game to 15. The winner goes on and plays the winner of the winner's bracket. That is Tim Hovland and Mike Dodd. Perhaps today could be Hovland and Dodd's day.
They look strong today, and Mike Dodd is playing extremely well, and he's a key for them because he, like Frohoff, Mike Dodd gets all the serves.
Kind of a unique jump serve from Frohoff. I haven't seen that. Stands right at the end line, puts it in play.
Maybe a little bit is a function of the room they have around the court. He might be someone who serves with a big run-up, and that's eliminated because the crowd is so big here, there just isn't room for him to get back there and really run up and serve.
Good dig by St. John. Stokey with the set. And Smith taps it into the corner. Mr. Consistency putting it away, the high loop. Beautiful dig by St. John Smith. He's got great reflexes, doesn't he, Paul?
He really does, and here's a perfect example of their team coordination. Randy Stoklos takes away most of the court. St. John's in the perfect spot to play defense, dig, perfect bump set, and there's St. John Smith, the key to his success, tremendous control, finding the open part of the court.
2-0 Smith Stoklos over Akatubby Frohoff. At the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. 4 courts here. Water, you get an idea when you see the crowd a little later in the show of how close the water is here. The water used to come right up to the courts. As a matter of fact, they used to have to truck in sand and build up those courts to keep the water from washing on. And I remember a number, you see, not much room. You'd be believed how the water, especially in one year, I believe it was 73, the big waves came and washed out the whole beach here at Laguna, took a few houses with it. All the volleyball players that happened to be playing that day.
Talk about a tough day to play.
But now I noticed that the actual boardwalk is much lower than it used to be. It used to be that was about a 10 or a 12-foot drop onto the beach, and now it's a little step down.
I think they brought in a lot of sand, maybe just for this tournament. But you can, as we saw the wide shot, there were a lot of people standing on the beach side or the water side of the court, and they're not standing to get a good view. They're standing as if they were sitting. They'd be about 12 feet below the court level.
Say, when high tide comes up here, it's watch out, baby. Watch out for the sandwiches. So they serve Stoklos, they being Akatubby Frohoff, and Stoklos, feeling his oats, goes right over the top and down. Talked about the physical ability of Randy Stoklos, 6'4", 210 pounds. 1985, he earned $22,000. Last year, $60,000, and this year it figures to go even higher.
Self-proclaimed Adonis. You know, we've talked about that before, but he is big and strong and just bombing away from the left.
2-0. Smith Stoklos on top. Blocked and recovered. That's legal. Remember, you're allowed to touch the ball twice off the block, but the third guy has to hit it over. Little cut shot by Akatabi. Interesting, when Randy Stoklos serves, he serves it easy so that there'll be a good pass and a good set to the net. We might keep an eye on that ball.
Well, I think he does it for that reason, but I think mostly he's serving the ball, he's lobbing the ball to give himself time to run up and get in a good blocking position. The service line's 30 feet from the net. He's got to serve the ball and sprint to the net to block, because as we've mentioned before, he does all the blocking for Team Smith Stoklos.
Frohoff went to Loyola Marymount University, where he was an outside hitter, but he's really gotten a lot better since he was in college, actually. Right into the corner, Randy Stoklos, and give a lot of credit to St. John Smith on the diving bump set.
Great quickness. A tough jump serve from Brent Frohoff. Not a great pass. St. John Smith uses his quickness and court coverage not only to get to the ball, but give his partner Stoklos something he can swing at. Just a great play by St. John.
2 will serve to 0.
That's why they've been so effective. They get a little bit off balance, and each of them is able to make a great play, to improve the ball, to give their partner something to swing at, or make a good blocking attempt or defensive attempt.
It's like timeout while Matt Gage runs the Gatorade back into the pole position. St. John Smith, the familiar upturned cap. A lot of people thought when he used to wear that cap, it was just to protect the sun from going on top of his face. Heard that many times. A lot of the guys out here modeling in some commercials, especially St. John Smith, very well known for that. Ball spiked down the line.
Sending the ball down along the line side.
It's a nice swing by Akatabi. He's really a good hitter from the right side. Tall, lanky, long arms, and a real fast swing. And Frohoff's given him some good sets out here. They're both passing the ball well.
So Akatabi will move way back, part of the crowd that's gathered, and Ack will be right in there with the crowd to start off his serve. Here he comes. Deep. Look at that set. And Smith bombs it. Boy, Randy Stoklos, we've talked about this so many times, Paul, but when the ball's back, the set is up there perfectly.
Yeah, he can set the ball with anybody who's ever played the game. And we've talked about St. John's ability to move the ball around. He's also got the ability to bring the heat, that time right off Akatabi's chest into the crowd.
3 consecutive Laguna Beach Opens with St. John Smith. So they like it here. And as you mentioned, Paul, a big man's beach. The sand here is just death-grabbing for a low jumper. And an attempted dig by Smith. No good. Ball will go to Akatabi and Frohoff.
Nice shot inside the block by Brent Frohoff. St. John Smith was in the right spot, just couldn't quite get to that dig. He's talking to himself right now. Randy Stoklos takes up so much room at the net that he really limits the options for a hitter. And that time, the cohesiveness between the two was perfect, but St. John just couldn't quite make the dig.
We often read the biographies of the players, what they like to do in their spare time. Frohoff, he's got a tough life. Surfing, reading, dancing, fast cars, and skydiving. $11,000 tied for 4th on the money list last year. I think he'll do a lot better this year. If he and his partner can jump serve a little harder and get a little more consistent, the standing jump serve. Back set. Frohoff. Smith. Blocked. That's legal. Right back over the net. This could be a thunderbolt. And Stoklos off the block, out of bounds. St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos have been together a long time, since I believe 1980, 81 or 82 when they first started playing together. We mentioned that St. John Smith had played with Karch Karai, but Karch Karai's national team duties really prevented him from playing full-time, and finally St. John had to make a decision who to go with.
Made a pretty good choice.
Decided to go with an up-and-comer, Randy Stoklos, and it has really paid off. This is our semifinal match here at the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. Boy, you couldn't ask for a nicer setting. I mean, there hasn't really been a bad setting yet for any of our volleyball matches, but this is real cozy in here.
This is a special spot. You know, it's a limited area here in the Laguna, and with the mountains nearby, there are a couple of millionaires up on the hill from their homes watching the tournament with their high-powered telescopes. Great dig by Smith.
So Akatabi will challenge the block of Stoklos. Cut shot, Smith is right there. And the little poke down by Randy Stoklos. That is a point. So now it is 3-0. Smith, Stoklos.
We put a point on the board for the team of Stoklos.
In our semifinal. Waiting in the wings, Tim Hovland, Mike Dodd.
Real tight play at the net that time after St. John Smith covered the dink. You're not allowed to reach over the net as an attacker in volleyball, and that time that ball was set right on top of the net, and Frohoff getting on Matt Gage a little bit, contesting that the ball was over the net when Stoklos hit it. Tough serve.
And the ball goes down. That is another point, 4-0 Smith and Stoklos. We mentioned at the top of the show that blocking would be the key. Watch the pass on this play, Paul.
Jump serve from St. John Smith, not the hardest on the beach, but maybe the most accurate. No communication from this young team, something you've got to do out here. Only 2 guys, you've really got to work well together. Ball goes down.
They are definitely down in the dumps. They coming off a very difficult match with Hanley Stevenson. We mentioned Steve Obradovich would be with us on our coverage today. Obradovich, one of the top players in beach volleyball for a long time through the 70s and early 80s, still plays on the beach. We'll be getting some good comments from Steve. He'll have a couple interviews for us later in the day. Some notables in the crowd, I'm told.
Some notables and in the very, very big crowd. And great duty, going to sit courtside, interview a few volleyball legends, and give us a courtside view of the action out here.
I guess you could describe Steve as one of the more colorful players on the beach.
Multi-colored.
One of my old partners. Frohoff rockets one. A sizzling line drive into the crowd, and Smith Stoklos perhaps smarting a little from that winner's bracket match, and it is going to be a timeout on the court. So Smith Stoklos on top, 5-0. We'll be back. See whether Akatubby and Frohoff can rebound after this. Welcome back to Main Beach, the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. Chris Marlowe along with Paul Sunderland. We mentioned Steve Obradovich. And let's go to Steve right now for some comments about Laguna Beach.
Hi, I'm down here with Tim Hovland, winner of the winner's bracket against St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos. Tim, congratulations on a great victory over them.
Thank you. It's a very hard-fought battle.
What are your projections for the finals? You're sitting here well-rested. It looks like it's going to be another hour or two. And what are your projections for the finals?
It looks like Smith and Stoklos are going to be coming back out of the loser's bracket, so we're going to have another tough fight, and hopefully we'll have a nice finals and take home the cup.
Okay, thanks a lot, Tim.
All right, thank you, Steve Obradovich. Our score, 5-0, Smith and Stoklos. A very placid Tim Hovland contemplating the finals. Tim trying to get on the board. Hovland and Dodd have won 1 tournament this year, and they would like to win more than that. Smith and Stoklos having won 8 out of 11 so far on the tour. Akatubby off the block of Stoklos out of bounds. Really an advantage to win the winner's bracket, though, isn't it, Paul?
It's a tremendous advantage. Not only have you won the winner's bracket, you've beaten all the best teams, but you get to rest for a good 3 or 4 hours. The wind has died a little bit. We talked about it being perfect conditions, but these guys are out here in the hot sun working hard, and they get to sit and rest and gather their thoughts and concentrate on just one match, one game.
Stoklos with the serve. Over the top and down. Let's paint the scenario for Smith and Stoklos. Were they to win this particular match, it's actually a 1-game match, then they would play Hovland and Dodd. They would have to win 1 game to 15, and then if they were to win that, they would have to win 1 sudden death game to 15 to win this tournament. So they have a tough road.
They do, but it's sort of the unique setup of double elimination pro beach volleyball. They've been there before. They've beat some great teams. They've won lots of tournaments together. And if we look back through the history, I'll bet more than a handful were won in exactly the fashion you've just described.
That's right, but a boatful have been won by the team in the winner's bracket. So big advantage to be in the winner's bracket, but both these teams still have a chance. Akatubby and Frohoff have to get off the schneid, as I'm told, when you have no points. So Frohoff will send it up. Just trying anything to score on Smith and Stoklos. Up top. And Smith cranks it down. Such a consistent hitter.
That's a great swing cross court, and we'll look at it here again. Again, getting a perfect set, jumping high and hard, boom, inside the block against one of the big blockers on the beach. We've talked a lot about St. John's ability, again, to move it around, but he looks stronger and stronger to me, and I think he brings the heat.
One thing he does when he brings the heat, he hits it inbounds, doesn't net, doesn't hit the ball out of bounds. And you see what hitting errors can do for you, Paul. You know, from playing indoors and the beach, you hit the ball out of bounds, you hit it into the net, and that really hurts your team.
Oh, not only is it an automatic point, but the other team really has to do little to earn it. All they've had to do is serve the ball over the net. It can be a momentum maker or breaker.
Smith serving that deep jump serve. Ack. And Stoklos with a dig. Smith, if he can't get it, no one can, with a possible exception of John Stevenson. Smith motoring through the sand.
He would have had that ball, I think. Chris, he just ran out of room. Earlier in the tournament when there were fewer people on the beach, maybe, or at 8 o'clock this morning in a loser's bracket, somebody would have gotten to that ball pretty easily, especially with St. John Smith's speed.
Get an idea of how much room is around the court. Just about 5 or 6 feet, and not much place to go. Some players will dive into the stands, but that's not always the healthiest idea.
Beach chairs can be dangerous to your health.
Over, no one! Akatubby puts it down. And that is going to be a point.
Akatubby and Frohoff getting on the board here. Stoklos going up over the block. Nice overhand dig. That's legal on the beach. Out here, boom, Akatubby downtown. You say Akatubby 5 times fast. Maybe we can just call him Frohoff Ack. How's that?
Well, that's how they're known on the beach tour.
I say we go with that.
Good. What about Mrs. Akatubby? She's probably going to be watching.
Well, if they win, she'll be happy.
What a dig by Ack, and into the net goes Brent Frohoff. You're not allowed to touch the net at any time in any volleyball match. So Randy Stoklos will go back and serve. Stoklos, he has some definite pastimes. He enjoys surfing, skiing, basketball, golfing, and making money. And he's very good at all those.
Very good at all of those.
That's an ace, and you don't see that very often. Just a short serve. Perhaps Akatubby and Frohoff out of gas, Paul.
Maybe a little bit. They've had a long road to hoe against some very tough teams. And just before that serve, you saw Stoklos lean over to St. John, hiding the ball to hide the message from the opposition, saying, I'm just going to serve an ace right here. I think he was actually telling him what he was going to do blocking, but to heck with that, he just served a short ace.
The only person I know that can read lips from that far is Vin Scully. I don't think Akatubby and Frohoff have that capacity. Akatubby with a cut shot. Oh, what an up. Here comes Stoklos. And Smith keeps it in play. Akatubby blocked out of bounds. Nice hustle play by the team that won 16 tournaments last year. They've won 8 so far this year.
Great court coverage. Here's the cut shot. We talked about it. St. John Smith stretched out. Great defensive play. Stoklos hustling into the seats. St. John just getting the ball back in play. Here's the set out to Akatubby. Stoklos blocking again. You see him reach into the cross court. He's in the right spot, but just cannot block the ball back down into the court. Just a great play by both teams.
Part of the big crowd that has gathered here in Laguna Beach. Men's Professional Beach Open, sponsored by Club Sportswear. A lot of interest here in men's professional volleyball. It's 7-1 Smith Stoklos on top of Frohoff Akatubby. They've always had big crowds here, even before professionalism came to volleyball. We mentioned that this tournament began in 1955, but they've always had great, enthusiastic support and a lot of great players coming from Laguna.
It's been a mecca for volleyball for years. Great players have come from Laguna. Look at the beautiful hills here. We've talked about some telescope owners up there maybe watching the tournament. Dusty Dvorak, Rudy Dvorak sitting here with us doing stats are both here from Laguna. Dusty, the star of the Olympic team. Some local, Leif Hansen right here from Laguna, and several other players through the years. They've always had one of the best high school teams in the country.
And some of our older fans will remember some of the great names, Bob Hogan and Pete Hogan, Phil Animal Man Anderson. Boy, could he hit the ball. They called him Animal Man. He had a great beard, and he hit the daylights out of the ball.
I guess you don't get a nickname like that for no reason at all.
I took one look at him when I first saw him, and I said, I'll serve his partner. I don't care if he's Wilt. I don't care if he's little mousy Sunderlanders. Smith with the serve. It's 7-1. Number 1 seed. Putting it to the young kids right now. Frohoff and Akatubby trying to get on the board. They are on the bad side. That is usually the north side of the beach. 1 serving 7.
Back to serve. 1 looking at 7.
Frohoff with the headband. Ack and Fro wearing the yellow and gray checkered trunks. They go to Stoklos. Randy right over the top and down. And just lacking a little life, Paul, a little energy are Frohoff and Akatubby.
Well, they can't find the piece to the puzzle. That time Frohoff was in a position to block. The ball was certainly set in a position where you'd want to go up and block, especially against Stoklos. Frohoff dropped off, and the team of Ack and Fro were in no position to play defense anywhere. Randy just looped the ball into the deep corner.
What a set. Ball spiked out of bounds. One reason Akatubby and Frohoff have been a good team, they both set the ball with their hands. You'll notice they use their hands just about every time, but Frohoff hitting the ball out of bounds. know, one thing that might help Acatubby and Frohoff in the future, really kind of mentioned how great the conditioning of Smith and Stoklos are, but perhaps they need to go on weights or run or play a little more. Not just them, but all the teams that want to challenge Smith and Stoklos.
I agree with you. It's clear from watching them throughout the course of the summer that they have the physical abilities of volleyball skills, I mean, but they need to get stronger. Their endurance needs to get higher. They need to jump train. They need to weight train. They got to play more during the week, possibly.
A timeout has been called on the court. I believe it's a sand timeout as Acatubby and Frohoff go over to towel off. Timeout. Sorry. I'm now told that is an official timeout between Acatubby and Frohoff. That is their first. You're allowed 2 timeouts per team per game.
St. John and Randy are pretty much in control of this match right now. Frohoff looks, if I don't want to use the word too strongly, but intimidated at the net. Seen a lot of line drives at Dodger Stadium scatter the fans. Well, he scattered the folks before the side change as he hit one long trying to avoid the block. And just a little while ago, he again missed the hands. It looks like he's trying to hit off the hands of Stoklos as opposed to aiming at the court, and hammered one up against the banners here outside the court. They can turn it around. They're a good young team, especially with their jump serving. They can challenge this team of Smith and Stoklos, but they got to get a little more consistent. A lot more consistent.
Semi-final action. Glad you're with us here on Prime Ticket. Over the top, Acatubby dinks it into the corner. It's 8-1, Smith and Stoklos. They lead. Waiting in the wings, as we told you, Hovland and Dodd just resting. Such a great position to be in, winning that winner's bracket. You eat a sandwich, you rest. Are we ready yet? No. Eat another sandwich, rest. We're ready now? No. Go in the water, come back.
And part of it, you also get to rest so much mentally. These guys are out here concentrating mentally for hours to get back to the finals. One of these teams is going to get back to the finals, where Hovland and Dodd can just relax. So much concentration necessary.
Spike out of bounds by Randy, a big bounce, but just missed the line, so there's a point for Ack and Fro. They change, they go over to the good side, and perhaps a little life coming to Acatubby and Frohoff. They still trail 8-2. We'll be back. More semifinal action after this. The Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open, seen from offshore. Checking out the action of men's professional beach volleyball here at Laguna Beach. I'm Chris Marlowe, along with the Olympic gold medalist Paul Sunderland. Everybody's got those gold medals, don't they, Paul?
Not everybody, Chris. You've got one, I've got one. Very, very proud of it.
He missed the top of the show. The United States women qualifying for the Olympics down in Havana, Cuba, beating Canada. They are now in the Olympics. So once again, our congratulations to Terry Liskevich, the head coach of the women's team. Smith, little dink, it's blocked out of bounds by Acatubby.
Block puts the ball out of bounds.
Here Stoklos saying high line, Paul.
Just trying to use the block of Scott Acatubby that time, and just taking a quick look at the statistics. St. John Smith has gotten 7 attempts, swinging attempts, attacking attempts, and is 7 for 7, hitting a clean 100%. Brent Frohoff, on the other hand, who we talked about having some problems, is only 5 for 11. Under 50% kill percentage. Not nearly good enough to compete.
Well, having trouble getting by Randy Stoklos. And that's going to lower your hitting percentage a little when the king of the Kong block is up at the net.
We haven't seen the Kong yet. It's still in his pocket, but he'll bring it out here pretty soon.
Not familiar with the Kong block? It's just that one-arm block that Randy Stoklos invented. And now it's really spreading to some of the other players, although they don't use it quite as effectively as Randy does. The heat bearing down on Acatubby. He'll jump it. Pretty good one, but Stoklos passes it easily. And Randy, Frohoff charging. Oh, that was Acatubby. They're wearing the same trunks. Tough to tell who's who.
Fro and Ack.
The ball put away by Stoklos.
St. John Smith, not known for his setting, gives Randy Stoklos 2 perfect sets here. He can just go up, pick his spot. Great get by Acatubby right there. Back over to Stoklos. St. John Smith bump setting. You saw there, Frohoff giving him a signal. Acatubby breaks the wrong way. The perfect setting of St. John Smith, giving him those opportunities.
How about the hot team of 1986? 16 of 23 tournaments last year won by Smith Stoklos. Stoklos has won 53 open tournaments, 52 with St. John Smith. So he was a good pickup for Randy also.
Not a bad draft choice. First round, first pick.
73 is the highest number. That is Smith. In second is Ron Von Hagen. Ball dinked into the corner. Ron Von Hagen has 63. Then comes Stoklos with 53. Then Jim Menges with 43.
Ack can throw.
And then Paul Sunderland with 3. No. Tough for you to get your beach volleyball career going with all your commitment to the national team, wasn't it?
I'll tell you, the beaches in Dayton, Ohio aren't too great. As you know, the national team was moved to Dayton, Ohio. We're still trying to figure out why in 1976. And, you know, you just don't pursue your beach career while you're back there training 8 hours a day.
If you're not familiar with the career of Paul Sunderland, he joined the team in ¡76 and then stayed right through the '84 Olympics. A tremendous commitment. You should be congratulated, Paul. I bailed out of Dayton in about 2 weeks. Although it was, you have to give Dayton, Ohio a lot of credit for starting the program. And I think without their commitment to help the USA national team, that the team would have never won the gold medal.
I think that's not an overstatement at all. Dayton, Ohio was not a perfect situation, but it was a prototype situation. And some of the mistakes in terms of job programs and training facilities for the national team that were overcome in Dayton were perfected in San Diego and led us down the golden path, so to speak.
Just the last ad on Dayton, that had more gnats in that city than any other city in the whole world. Stoklos into the corner. Remember a couple times running wind sprints. Well, you open your mouth, you got a mouthful of those babies.
God forbid if you had braces, you know, they were just there permanently.
We're in semifinal action. The score is not changed here at the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. You're looking at Randy Stoklos, the former UCLA ball player. Played 1 year at UCLA, came in second. One of the years that UCLA lost to USC in the finals, that great USC team in 1980. Dvorak, Powers, Timmons, Hovland. UCLA had a great team that year too. Stoklos, Karai, a number of other great players. The thing I remember about that, Paul, is after the match, Karai taking the ball and kicking it about 60 rows up in the St. John Arena, or wherever that was. I believe that was in Muncie, actually.
Muncie, Indiana.
Yeah. A little frustrated, but that was a great USC team. I still think that was perhaps one of the best of all time.
Really was a strong team, and proof of that is how successful those players have gone on to be both on the beach internationally and indoors for the United States.
Yeah, we'll be seeing Randy Stoklos and St. John Smith indoors a little later in the summer. Team Cup volleyball once again will return to the Forum. Glad to bring you that here on Prime Ticket, the network of volleyball. You want to see the best volleyball coverage? Stay tuned to Prime Ticket.
Turning the ball from the left-hand side of the court, good from the side out. Back to the service line. 2 will serve to 8.
Just a look at the big crowd here gathered at Laguna. We've talked about it before, but the people really turn out and support this tournament. St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos still leading 8-2. Akatubby back to service, jump serve.
If you're wondering when Team Cup debuts, it will be September 9th. That will be on a Wednesday. Once again, that will be at the fabulous Forum. Oh boy, there's not a better place to play volleyball anywhere in the world indoors than the fabulous Forum.
No question about that. St. John Smith again cranking the ball cross court. They can't quite find a solution to either the hitting of St. John Smith or Randy Stoklos. I had the pleasure of playing in Team Cup last year, and the Forum is a great place to go play. Really enjoyed playing Team Cup last year.
And one of the teams that will be in that, Smith, Stoklos, Hovland, Dodd. I hear they're trying to get Powers on their team, claiming he's a beach guy.
Getting him reclassified.
Come on.
Beautiful stuff, Randy Stoklos.
That's what they've become known for. Big stuff block by Randy Stoklos.
Stoklos, actually his first stuff block of the day, Paul.
They've been hitting the ball out of bounds, but here's his, here he is reaching up and over. Akatubby tries to go down the line. No chance. Look at that motion by Stokey after the stuff block.
9-2. We're playing to 15. The winner goes on and plays Hovland Dodd. Sky ball. Akatubby. Nice set from Frohoff. And Ack with the cut shot. That's a very effective weapon against a good blocker, is that little cut shot.
It is, and St. John Smith will stand a lot of times right behind the block of Randy Stoklos. And as Akatubby, for example, will go up to hit, St. John will read which way he's going, and he'll also read what part of the court his blocking teammate Stoklos is taking away and move one way or the other. So much court to cover, you got to guess a little bit. You guess wrong, side out.
Akatubby, jump it up right to Stoklos. He's passing great today. Off the block, Frohoff. Oh, what a set! And Akatubby puts it away. A spectacular play by Brent Frohoff to get that ball up.
That's a great play by Frohoff. Not only does he block the ball, but he chases it down. Here you see it.
3-9.
Up to Stoklos. Soft control block, but he's got to run about to mid-court to bump set this ball to his partner, Akitabi. Boom, down the middle. Tough ball to dig. Stoklos can barely get a hand on it. Really a great play by Brent Frohoff.
The Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. Semifinal action, Smith, Stoklos 9, Akitabi Frohoff 3. Akitabi will serve once again, coming right out of the crowd. See him backed right in there. I think that affects how you receive the serve, Paul. If you see him coming out of the white shirts and the bronze bodies, look at that. He blends right in. If he didn't have the ball, you wouldn't ever see him.
Where is he? It shouldn't be tough. Here he comes.
Interestingly, indoor, that would be a violation right there. You're not allowed to catch the ball. Once you toss it up, indoor-wise, that would have been a violation. The beach has no rules such as. Smith, Stoklos with the set, and Smith pounds it straight down into the crowd.
Boy, the key to that, you could hear Randy Stoklos saying right there, and what he means is perfect spot to hit the ball, and he's really setting the ball well, and St. John's passing well. There it is, outside. You can see where the ball's set. Gives St. John Smith all the court he needs to hit into. The blocker's got to guess. He guesses wrong. St. John Smith hits the ball past him. Keyed by the great setting and consistent setting of Randy Stoklos.
So Randy will serve. His team is nursing a 6-point lead. Akitabi Frohoff, Doug. Chance for a point. Smith is Doug. But we're going to have a net, I believe, on Brent Frohoff. And sometimes you get that, Paul, especially when you're tired.
You're tired, and he's doing everything he can to reach into St. John Smith angle to try to stuff that ball. Reach a little too far, you net, the play stops, negating the great dig by Akitabi.
Running the lead to 7 points. Smith Stoklos. Deep. Ack. And Frohoff is blocked. Little left-hand rainbow. Stokey gets it. Here he comes. Little cut shot into the net. Tough chance for Randy. He had to eat sand back in the corner, get up, brush it off, and then get up there in time to spike.
Tough chance. Here you go. Going back. Oh, nice cover. Deep over his head, goes back, gets up in a hurry, and up 10-3. Why not go for the radical angle and just doesn't make it into the middle of the net?
You know, one of the toughest things in beach volleyball is to make that play after you go down. And you could hear St. John Smith going, get up, get up.
That's really important. Sometimes people who are new to the game or come down to the beach and see the game for the first time, they see partners screaming at each other, but you really have to exhort each other to get moving to cover so much court. It's really important to drive your partner like that.
We're going to get back to that, Paul. Stoklos into the corner, Doug. And a pound by Brent Frohoff, and he gives Randy Stoklos a major league stare down. They get a point.
He was having any of it. Here we'll see it again. Great little pokey that time by Frohoff. Very nice bump set by Ack. Boom, cross court. St. John goes the wrong way. No chance. Point.
Now it is 10-4. Laguna Beach Open, sponsored by Club Sportswear. We're in the semifinal. Frohoff and Akitabi trying to come back. Remember, they trailed 5-0. Smith, little cut shot. Nobody going to get that one. St. John Smith with a little cutsy dink shot. You know, you talked about demanding or exhorting your player to go. Well, Ron Von Hagen and Ron Lang were the masters of that, saying, go, Ronnie, go, go, go. And Ron Von Hagen said, you have to demand your partner to go, or he won't go. If you go, 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 the guy's not going to go. You have to go, 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 and staccato goes, a lot of them right in a row. Go, 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 go.
And, you know, both of us have played for a long time, and it really helps you to get to balls. There are a lot of times where you have a better angle than your partner because he's straight onto the set or straight onto the shot. And you're just, you have to trust each other, and you just have to drive after every ball. You got to do it. You got to go, go, go.
10-4. Smith Stoklos. Nice spike by Frohoff. And there is a lot of terminology you can use if you're a young beach volleyball player. If you dig one towards yourself, you should say, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. If it's away, then go, 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 or over, over, over. But you really get that ingrained to say it more than once, 3 or 4 times. Some players I play with now, they're just very quiet. I say, listen, you better yell at me or I'm not going anywhere.
If you see it, tell me to go get it.
Yeah. You hear that high line angle. Ack with the joust and out of bounds. And Smith.
Well, very uncharacteristic error. You don't see him make those kind of mistakes.
And you don't see St. John Smith pull off his hat very often.
Out to St. John, little dink shot. He gets to it. Bump set, very tight to the net.
So right off the Kong block, Smith and Stoklos have taken timeout. The Laguna Beach Club Sportswear Open. It's 10-5, Smith Stoklos. We'll be back. We'd like to remind you that you're watching the Prime Ticket Network, the network of volleyball, available in Southern California on such fine cable systems like ML Media TV in Anaheim, Villa Park, Hermosa Beach, and Manhattan Beach. Also found on Cox Cable TV in San Diego, California. Prime Ticket, the cable network of champions. Welcome back to Main Beach. Along with the gold medalist Paul Sunderland, I'm Chris Marlowe. Semi-final action. St. John Smith, Randy Stoklos with the ball right now. They're going up against the young kids, Akitabi and Frohoff. And Brent Frohoff, a pleasant surprise, Paul. He's really coming on.
Coming on, a little more consistent hitting, getting some confidence with a big stuff block here. Going to Randy Stoklos. You don't see that often. St. John Smith bump setting. Frohoff goes up, pretty much hits right into him. Stoklos does. Frohoff's over the net. Look at that as he fired up. That'll get him going.
One thing that Randy Stoklos was telling me after that Hovland-Dodd match, as the ball's dug right up here, Paul, get ready, is that if they have one weakness, Smith and Stoklos, is that they lose their concentration just a little. They said they had a big lead on Hovland-Dodd, let it get away. They had a big lead in this one, and they've given up some points.
They've said over and over again that they let down just momentarily, but it's hard to get that killer instinct back, and they let teams creep back into the match over and over.
Well, it's really hard to have that killer instinct when you're killing everybody every week. They're doing so well, someone has to wake them up, and I think that Hovland-Dodd, there's a good up by Stoklos. Can he score? Takes a good pop at it. Akitabi low, what an up! Here comes Stokey into the crowd.
Great try. I hope he's not hurt.
Right into the barrier. And you see the dangers of going into the crowd, but when it's an important point, you got to go for it. How about this effort, Paul?
Just a great play. Little dink shot. Stoklos, first of all, blocking, then getting down and playing defense. His partner, St. John Smith, bump setting. Has a pretty good swing. Nice dig by Akitabi. Goes up, same cut shot again. Look at St. John Smith stretched out. Great get. We've seen that over and over. And look at Stoklos. Everything he's got to get through the barrier to go after the ball. Just a great play.
Interesting. Right at the end of that play, Smith dug the ball. Then he got in a little hibernation position because he knew Randy was coming right through there at 6'4", 210. You better get out of the way.
You wouldn't want to get a big knee in the back of the head.
I've seen that happen. You just trample over your partner to go get the ball. So that play resulted in a side out. It's 10-6. Akitabi and Frohoff will serve. Big crowd on hand here at Laguna Beach to watch the semifinal match. St. John and Randy over Brent and Scott right now. Stoklos. Little dink shot, and it goes down. They're working on Stoklos, and perhaps this will pay off later, perhaps for Hovland and Dodd. If they serve Stoklos, got to get a little more tired getting that serve, don't you, Paul?
Yeah, I think Tim and Mike are watching this match and looking at the pattern of who's receiving serves, maybe having one of their girlfriends chart that. As we can see, looking at the statistics, uncharacteristically, Randy Stoklos has received 16 serves as to St. John Smith's 12. And usually it's numbers way in favor of St. John in terms of number of hitting attempts.
Well, I think people have figured out if you serve St. John, you're going to lose every time, and you serve him all the time. Nice up by Smith.
Great set.
And that's why, because he's one of the smartest players in the game, going right over the top. And the teams have just not had success attacking the team of Smith Stoklos that particular way. We're trying something a little different. We'll see if it works here at the Laguna Open.
St. John Smith is playing some great defense. How many times have we seen in this game alone St. John stretched out all over the cut shot? They're going to convert a lot of those into points.
If you're wondering where you've seen St. John Smith, well, he's been on the cover of Vogue, Esquire, Playboy, GQ, Modern Bride, and Sports Illustrated. Of course, what has he done lately, Paul?
I don't know. That's a pretty good list, though. I'll take that list.
He's been in a lot of national commercials also.
Scott coming back from the service line.
Remember when I used to go out for commercials? I'd see him at every one. I see him, I'd take one look, there he is, and I'd just walk back out to my car and drive home because he would get every one.
I did a Foot Locker commercial about a year ago, and I was so happy about it. And then I finally saw it on the air, and who's the Foot Locker man but St. John Smith, you know, at the end for about 20 seconds. I thought my little 2-second clip was a big deal. I think we got paid the same, though. I'll take that.
Ball stuffed down, Frohoff. That is a point.
Frohoff kind of glaring through the net. You know, I don't think St. John and Randy go for that business at all. but nice stuff block by the young Brent Frohoff.
He's got a little cockiness in him, doesn't he? This is the way they were playing in Santa Cruz a year ago, but something happened to him after that win. They got a little cocky, perhaps too cocky, Paul. They didn't train quite as hard as some of the other teams. And I would think, honestly, that they did not have the kind of summer that people expected them to. Smith, off the block, out of bounds. There's some good intensity. Glaring, a little wordsmanship between Smith and Frohoff. If you're new to beach volleyball, you might wonder, well, how big is the court? What kind of dimensions does it have? It's 30 by 60, 900 square feet on each side of the court. The net height, as you might imagine in volleyball, right around 8 feet, although that does vary from beach to beach. Some beaches a little higher, some a little lower. And they call their own lines. The lines here at Laguna, black rubber tubing. A little dink shot goes down. You know, a couple beaches, one beach that really comes to mind is Manhattan, is they have the largest ropes of all. Big green ropes. I mean, it looks like jumping over telephone cable to try to swing into your approach.
They need a herd of Sherpas to carry those ropes out onto the beach.
See the tubing there. It's not unusual to trip on that line occasionally. Into the corner. Score is 11-7. As Stoklos puts the ball down. And I think Smith and Stoklos now have made it really tough on themselves. They've gotten a lot tougher match out of this than simply blowing them out.
Smith back to serve.
This could certainly tell if they should go on to win. Frohoff and Ack are playing extremely well. They're down 11-7 here. Blocking some balls, continuing to jump serve could certainly come back. But St. John and Randy have dug themselves a little hole should they go on to the finals.
You good? Yeah. Over. That's
Into the net. I don't believe Stoklos will get a credit for a stuff block. The ball did not clear the net. Let's see if we can see if the ball actually does clear the net. Does it hit the tape or go through? What do you think, Paul?
50-50. Randy will tell you it came through. Somebody else will say that it didn't. He'll take credit for the stuff block.
Randy will tell you that that is a block, a stuff block. The Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open, as St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos have forged a 5-point lead over Ack and Frohoff.
Chris, you were talking earlier, we've seen some great defensive plays and some great hustle plays. Who exhorted you better than anybody else on the beach?
Also, thanks to
You know, interestingly enough, it's Kathy Gregory, a woman. She can yell.
I believe it. I know
she can yell like no one can yell. And I told her, look, Kathy, when we play together, they have mixed tournaments. Well, we'll talk more about Kathy a little later. I'm told that Steve Obradovich is with a special guest right now, the winner of the winner bracket, Mike Dodd. Let's go to him right now.
Mike, you're in the driver's seat right now, sitting here waiting for these two teams to finish. How do you feel?
I feel great. I just hope that this match can go on for about another 2 hours. I want to see Frohoff and Ack start siding out a little more, and I want to see just Randy get as tired as possible. He's here staring at me now. But it's a great feeling. We haven't been here very often, and we just had a couple good plays in the finals of the winners, and here we are.
Well, good luck in the finals, Mike.
Thank you.
And I remember when I would win the winner's bracket or someone would win, someone would ask me, well, what would you like to do? See this match get over very quickly? I said I'd like to see it go about 32-30. One guy have cramps, the other guy throw up and drag him off the court.
I'd like to see the wind to stop, the temperature go up to about 114 degrees.
So St. John Smith will serve. His team leads 12-7.
cut. Good.
Little cut into the net. And the physical toll of playing two difficult matches in a row. Remember, Ack, Tubby, and Frohoff had to beat Hanley and Stevenson, and they always give everybody a very, very tough match. There is a side change now. Smith Stoklos go on to the bad side, as it's called. Ack and Fro go to the good side. A little dejected, Ack, Tubby, and Frohoff. Put together a good run there. They're a young team, Paul, and a lot of good matches left in them this upcoming year.
No question about it. And breaking through here, and as we've talked about, we expected great things from them this year, having won last year in Santa Cruz. They've not had the summer that they had hoped for. But this finish, even though they're going down here right now, could give them some confidence for coming weeks.
Exactly. They serve Frohoff. And he dug. Can Stoklos, yes, over the top. Oh, what a shot! Tubby, and it goes down.
Great rally on both teams' part. Let's hear it. Professional beach volleyball. Laguna Beach style.
Boy, talking about why these guys have been so successful. They don't let any opportunity for a point go. Look at Randy Stoklos driving, gets the ball, and St. John Smith going completely over his partner to keep the ball in play. Just a tremendous hustle play, something that makes them so tough. Just can't quite get to this cut shot, and even then, after all that running, St. John Smith is diving after the cut shot.
Call air traffic control, because St. John Smith is taking off. He's buried in the sand. He'll brush it off for a couple minutes. Boy, he really is getting up on those leaps sideways.
That was just a great, great play, and something that makes pro beach volleyball so exciting. Guys are making plays out here in teams of 2, covering a big area, and making plays that a lot of people can't even imagine. And I think that was one of them.
Akatubby and Frohoff. Ack will jump. And what we're going to have is perhaps a footfall on Akatubby. You're not allowed to touch the line. Matt Gage, the official, pointing that his foot was just on the rope. You're not allowed to do that at any time. See Gage indicating. Let's see if we can pick this up. Right in the corner, Paul.
Yeah, I think what actually he's calling, and you can see on the replay, is that you have to serve from in between the lines, and I think he's saying that Akatubby's right foot was outside the sideline when he contacted the ball serving. You have to serve, you can serve from anywhere along the back line, but you have to be in between the sidelines. Let's watch it again. Yeah, you can see his right foot there planted outside the court.
Needs plantar flexion to get that baby back in there. And Frohoff takes it out on the Spalding volleyball, so side out. Back to Frohoff and Akatubby. Score is 7 serving 13. Looking at Akatubby Frohoff, they are on the south side in yellow and gray. Smith and Stoklos, the #1 seed. Pretty good serve down the line, but Stoklos passing very well today. Little cut shot.
Very nice shot from Randy Stoklos, just chopping the ball inside the block.
That's also called a cut shot going the other way. That's a very important shot in volleyball. You have to be able to cut it along the net.
You're clearly hitting away from your body. There we see Smith Stoklos leading 13-7. You have to have that shot to open up a lot of the others and make the defensive player guess.
Smith sending it up. Off the net. And the ball is dug, but Stoklos. Interesting what Randy does. The minute the ball goes by him, he runs off the net, anticipating a great dig by Smith. And more than, I'd say, half the time he gets it, some kind of deflection upward. Very agile for a big man. Big man in volleyball, 6'4".
Sometimes an interesting stat we might keep on future broadcasts is the number of balls that St. John gets his hands on defensively compared to the other players. I think he touches far more.
No, come on, help!
Trouble. And there you see the serving power of Akatubby Frohoff. We mentioned that they had won one tournament, the Calgary Open. That was that indoor tournament held up in Calgary, Alberta. And they virtually did it all by jump serving. They just served everybody off the court.
Even though they brought in about 80 tons of sand, it was only about 2.5 inches thick. And you can imagine, compared to the surface we talked about here, the depth and the softness of sand at Laguna, those guys were jumping up and bombing away, and the jump serve is their big weapon.
It's a serve that is really spreading to all aspects of volleyball. The women picking it up now in high school girls volleyball. You see it. You never used to see it in women's play. Now everybody's doing it. Women, men, girls, coaches.
You, me?
Let's not go that far. Akatubby puts it down. And so creeping and crawling, the team of Akatubby and Frohoff.
Just creeping back in.
Now 9-13.
Here we see the bump set up and down the line past the block. St. John Smith, no chance, playing for the cross-court hit. Akatubby going past the block, down the line.
Mike Dodd may get his wish.
He only wanted to go on for two more hours.
A very long semifinal match, however, and that is draining, even for a team as superbly conditioned as Smith Stoklos. Out of the crowd.
Good. Right there. High line.
It's tight.
Good.
And a nice spike cross court. St. John Smith slicing it inside.
You could hear Randy Stoklos that time yelling high line, and he's just trying to give St. John an idea of where the back row player in that situation, Akatubby, was playing. St. John did, however, hit the ball cross court. Sometimes the set will blow a little, will move. You've already made up in your mind where you're going to hit the ball. You got to go ahead and hit your best shot.
See the communication, very important between a team of just 2 players. Frohoff rockets one into the corner.
Great swing into the deep corner.
Side out.
Getting back to exhorting. When I first got on the national team, I had been almost exclusively a beach player. And we went back to train and date, and a lot of guys who were trying out for the team were from the Midwest. Didn't know anything about doubles, let alone playing 2 guys on the beach. And I would dig a ball and just be screaming, come on, go, go, go. And these guys would stop and look at me like I was out of my mind. It was comical.
Well, I'll never forget when we were in Argentina and Karch Karaya just joined the team. He used to scream like a madman. And Coach Doug Beal had to go, listen, some of our players are not used to that. And so then Karch didn't say anything for about 2 weeks, the opposite way. But a lot of players are like that. You have to have some of those on your team, but you don't need all screamers. You need some quiet guys, too. You have to have the right blend. But in 2-man volleyball, communication, very important. Smith will send it up. Once again, you can see the posture for the sky ball. And he does. Sun just dipping behind a cloud. Scores 13-9. Cut shot. Frohoff, he does a nice job up the net hitting against the block, doesn't he, Paul?
Frohoff's done a great job, and he's been carrying most of the load, having been served 22 times. Both of the Frohoff and Ack setting the ball with their hands. Nice set. Going up. Stoklos reaches line. He cuts the ball inside. St. John Smith can't quite get to it.
So we're going to see the Ack attack out of the crowd once again for Ackatubby. And if he could get his jump serve going, Ack and Fro could get back into this match. See him setting up in the crowd. You know, we mentioned how dangerous it is to go into the crowd. I remember one tournament, Ron Von Hagen dove into the crowd and he stepped on the loudspeaker, you know, the bullhorn that the tournament official would use to signal play, cut open his foot, and then had to bandage it up, and he still won the tournament.
I don't think much was going to stop Ron play.
Yeah.
They called him Von Muscle, Von Yogurt. He used to take a zillion vitamins a day. He was going to play no matter what.
Kept in play, Frohoff. And that is a critical mistake. A tough chance for Brent Frohoff, and you can see him going, my gosh.
He'd like to take the sand in his fist.
Yeah.
Just shove it. What's he going to do? It was a nice play on the block. His partner, Ackatubby, here you see St. John going up and knuckling a little. His partner, Ackatubby, gets to it and tries to set, but just sets the ball a little too low. The ball never got quite high enough for Frohoff to take a good swing.
Frohoff probably thinking at the end of that, I wish that was Ackatubby that did that so I can yell and scream at him. Stoklos, they serve Frohoff. It's 13-9 still in semifinal, and that ball is straight down. Stoklos with another stuff block.
Stoklos wasn't going to let Frohoff go inside him that time, and St. John was playing defense down the line. Here you see the set going to the outside. Stokey's going to block cross court. Just jumps way into the cross court, reaches over, stuff block.
So 1 point away, Smith Stoklos from moving on into the finals. Short serve. Hovland and Dodd waiting, and we're going to get it. Another rematch, Smith Stoklos, although the shoe will be turned on the other foot this time. Hovland and Dodd have won the winner's bracket. They will face St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos.
Not an artistic way for it to end, but that's it. Smith Stoklos and Hovland Dodd in the finals.
So we're going to move along. Smith and Stoklos, they'll get a drink of water. We'll be back with final action here at the Laguna Open after this. Welcome back to the Club Sportswear Laguna Beach Open. You have just witnessed semi-final action. The team of St. John Smith and Randy Stoklos, the #1 seed, defeating the team of Brent Frohoff and Scott Ackatubby 15-9. Let's take a look at the semi-final stats, Paul. 30 kills for Frohoff, Ackatubby, St. John Smith, and Stoklos only 29. Blocks were even. Aces 1-0. But the digs favor Smith and Stoklos, and just the dominating team at the net. Smith and Stoklos advance into the finals. We mentioned a little about the history of Laguna Beach. One of the great players of all time has been Matt Gage. He won Laguna 1972 with Bob Clem, 1974 with Buzz Schwartz, and as recently as 1979 with Jim Menges. Our Steve Obradovich is standing by right now with Matt Gage.
Matt Gage down here, the head of officials and a sort of a resident historian among volleyball players. Matt, what comes to mind when you think of the Laguna Beach Open?
Well, Laguna Beach Open has a tremendous history. It's been around over 30 years, but even more than that, it's the intimacy of this site. You can see back here that the amount of seating is only about maybe 20 feet right to the boardwalk. The other way you've got the ocean that's only about maybe 50 feet, so the fans are just right on top of the action.
Sort of gives you that arena-type feeling, really close in and everything.
Yeah, it's almost like being in the old Roman Coliseum or something, and I mean, a lot of intimacy here. The fans right on top of it. There's a lot of energy.
Believe me, with Stoklos out there, he looks like a gladiator. Matt, you got the finals coming up. Who do you favor in that?
Well, off the season's record, I'd have to go with St. John and Randy, at least to take it to 2 games. They're playing real well. It's just a matter of whether or not that last game that they played takes it out of them. I think Hav and what's the guy's name?
Mike Dodd.
They're playing real well. They're giving a lot of trouble. I see they're starting to serve Randy a little more, and it's starting to maybe take them out of their game, but we'll see.
Well, I think that was a good victory for Mike and Tim in the finals of the winners bracket against St. John and Randy, only because they finally won a close one from them. They're about 0 for 5 this year in 16-14 games. You think that could make a difference in